Hi, I'm Skylar Nelson, co-founder of I Am Nurtured and registered dietitian.
And I'm Jeannie Riley. I'm the other co-founder of I Am Nurtured, registered dietitian, and we're both parents
We're both
too.
parents, yes. I'm a dad of a son, yes.
Yes, and that's part of what got us into this awesome business, working on fertility, pregnancy, postpartum.
Yeah. So last time we had a conversation, Jeannie, about my experience and the fertility challenges and how to correct that. And this time I think we're going to talk about on the male side specifically, obviously. And then I think this time you could talk about a little bit about your experience and how address some questions we get often from our customers and those in our community about how to improve fertility for our counterparts, the mamas, the
Yeah,
future mamas.
yes. I think, one of the things that I think women are used to is kind of carrying the burden of fertility for a large part until you go down the road of infertility and you might get some more research and data into, oh, dads actually do
That's
play a
right.
large part in this. So, especially if you're beginning this road of preconception prep and you're starting to think about getting pregnant, like, you know, if you're not thinking about your timing and your ovulation and all of that, it might not be as fast of a process as you think. In
Right.
fact, I remember, ended any birth control in anticipation of us getting pregnant, and 6 months had gone by, and I was like, "Uh-oh,
Yeah.
what's going on? What's happening?" And
Yeah.
my doctor said, "Oh, well, we don't do anything. We won't refer you to fertility specialists until about 12 months of no conception
Yeah.
and earnest trying." And I was like,
Right.
well, we hadn't been timing anything, and
Right.
you have to get kind of intentional about it. And it seems like, it takes some of the like excitement and fun and out of just getting pregnant when
Yeah.
you have to get so methodical about it. But there are only a few days every month that we're fertile, and so there's an education component in
Yeah.
on the woman's side also to
Yeah.
know when she's ovulating, and then there's all the bigger picture of like what goes into egg quality, what goes into the ideal environment and your body for having a healthy pregnancy. So there's a
Right.
lot of prep that can go into it.
Prep the body and
Mhm.
and yeah, be ready to put the time in, right? Especially
Yeah.
after you stop taking birth control or
Hmm.
something of that nature. So, um, along those lines, when should a mother start thinking about prepping her body for pregnancy and conception? What is a timeline?
Yeah, the egg cell starts to develop like 7 to 8 months before ovulation.
Mhm.
So it's really, when you hear doctors saying, start taking your prenatal 3 to 6 months before you want to conceive, that's good advice. And
Yeah.
I would offer even further than that, especially if you've been on birth control.
Yeah.
We can talk more about that too, because birth control actually causes a lot of nutrient depletion in your body. But if you go back to that 7 to 8 month window when this egg cell starts to develop into a follicle, that is the prime time where you want to make sure that this egg cell, this follicle that's developing, has all of the nutrients it needs to grow in a healthy way.
Mhm.
And then really 3 to 4 months before ovulation is when that cell is particularly sensitive to any sort of nutrient or toxin insults. So, making sure that especially during that 3 to 4 month window, if you are planning your conception, we all know like there are surprise pregnancies where you're like, oh shoot, I haven't
Right.
done anything, and all of a sudden I'm 10 weeks pregnant.
Right.
I will say that it's important that no matter where you are in this process, like start now.
Yeah.
It's not too late. It's not too late if you're in month 8 of pregnancy to start taking, nutrient density and supplementation seriously. But
Yeah.
really, if you are in this preconception window, 7 to 8 months early before you really want to try to get pregnant is ideal.
Yeah.
And 3 to 4 months out is when you really want to kind of buckle down and make sure like you're on a good prenatal, you're on a good DHA, EPA supplement, and you're starting to really pay attention to the things in your environment and your lifestyle that could really have an impact on how that follicle develops and
Yeah.
how welcoming an environment your body is for a healthy pregnancy.
Yeah, that's great. Uh, I think the next question along the lines of egg quality, whether you're, trying to get pregnant with your husband or partner, or a lot of women now are freezing their eggs. How do you support like getting the best egg quality through nutrition and lifestyle practice, you think?
Yeah, and I think there are three main components here. There's mitochondrial health, there's hormonal balance, and there's
Hmm.
also oxidative stress, right? And those three big components really play into the quality of an egg or the lack thereof.
Hmm.
So, egg cells are really dense in mitochondria, and it's a very important way that you can sort of boost the vitality of that egg cell when you make sure you're paying attention to mitochondrial health.
Yep.
So L-carnitine and CoQ10 are two of those really powerful supplements, and they're in a lot of fertility support products now that
Mhm.
can go a long way towards supporting mitochondrial health.
Yeah.
With hormonal balance, it wouldn't hurt to get things checked, your labs checked, if you have the ability to do that before you go into this preconception phase. Insulin resistance is a big one.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of people, especially now, have underlying insulin resistance and may not even know it. PCOS is a huge issue these days also.
Mhm.
So just making sure that, your estrogen, your progesterone, all of your hormones are in balance and, if you're ovulating on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Um, and then the last one is the oxidative stress. So
Sure.
making sure there aren't a ton of these, like I said, toxic insults in your environment. And it's really like you think about, everything in small doses, you know, is everyone likes to talk about like moderation, but when
Mhm.
you're being bombarded by like small doses of so many different things constantly in your environment, like I've there are so many products that we encounter every day, whether it's our shampoo and conditioner, the
Yeah.
makeup we put on our skin, the cleaning products we use. And like we talked a lot about this stuff with dads and sperm
Yeah.
health too.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
100%.
Um, all of these things, the BPA lining in cans, the nonstick cookware, the
Yep.
fragrances, whether it's perfume or the fragrances in a candle or in your body products, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And they really do disrupt that hormonal balance that we were just talking about. So doing your best to, kind of get rid of all of these toxins in your world is ideal.
Yeah.
Drink filtered water. Don't drink the plastic bottled water, to
Yeah.
carry around, even if it's, a countertop water filter, that's
Yep.
way better than, tap water that a lot of us are drinking, which does have a lot of toxins and chemicals and pharmaceuticals in it.
Undesirable things for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oxidative stress also is coming from like the physical stress in our
Sure.
world. You think about like how a lot of us are, especially in our 20s, 30s, 40s when we're getting
Yeah.
pregnant, like you're probably, building a career, potentially handling other children
Yeah.
and, leading a busy life. Like stress in our environment translates to stress inside our bodies. So doing our best to mitigate that, like really find time to calm your body, whether it's meditation, yoga, walking, kind of take the intensity down
Yeah.
for this period of time so that your body is receiving a signal that it's time to relax and receive and that it's okay to accept pregnancy at this time.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yes, very similar to the male experience, I think,
Mhm.
from the environmental or the insults, I guess that was a
Yeah.
cool term. Yeah, it's interesting that mitochondria health is like a big, huge powerhouse of the cell, all that kind of stuff. When my
Yeah.
wife and I were, or Rita and I were doing, trying to get pregnant, the procedure we like went to go do in Canada was putting in more mitochondria in her eggs. And the doctor kind of likened it to like we're putting fresh batteries in a flashlight, an old flashlight. So
Yeah.
because she was a little bit older, right, that was a thing. And then, going through the IVF process, it's a constant blood work and looking at hormonal values, so lab values. So it's very important things. Those are great points.
Yeah.
Um, so getting pregnant after years on birth control, what can you do to ensure your body is ready for optimal fertility to carry a baby?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned this earlier.
Yeah.
Birth control depletes a lot of nutrients in our body, and many of us get on it when we're teenagers,
Yeah.
hormonal birth control
Yeah.
specifically. So, potentially you've been on hormonal birth control a couple of decades by the
Yeah.
time that you're getting pregnant. And often many women are prescribed birth control to cover up issues with their cycle.
Right.
So whether it's, they're not cycling regularly, or they're having really painful cycles or skin issues. I mean, hormonal birth control is slapped on a ton of issues and used as, sort of a band-aid. So
Yeah.
when you come off of it 10, 15, 20 years later, those issues are not necessarily gone.
Yeah.
So it does take time to let your body come back to an equilibrium. And potentially, if those issues that birth control was used to cover up are not gone, even more time for you to work with somebody to really find the solution to the underlying issues. So it is important to cycle off birth control well before you're intending to get pregnant. And you may be one of the people that does get pregnant right away. And in which case, making sure that you are on a really great supplement,
Yeah.
very high quality with high values of, especially birth control depletes B vitamins, B6, B12, and folate,
Hmm.
which we all know is very important for neural tube development. Magnesium, zinc, selenium, those are big antioxidants, I forgot to mention that with egg quality also. Antioxidants are huge for egg quality.
Yeah.
And just, making sure that that's what we can do to help support the removal of these free radicals, which cause oxidative stress in our
Yeah.
bodies. So getting, really just boosting all of your antioxidants, vitamin E, vitamin C, also, vitamin D and iron tend to be pretty depleted during use of birth control. Vitamin D is hugely important for baby's development, neural development, and also iron. Are as a pregnant woman, your blood supply increases by over 50%,
Right.
and you need additional iron
Right.
to deliver all that oxygen to your cells.
Yeah.
So, it is we see people waffling back and forth on whether to supplement with iron, and there are some people who need more and some
Hmm.
people who need less. So pay
Yeah.
attention to that. Know that iron deficiency anemia is very common during pregnancy. So just keep a handle on that with your doctor as um if you become pregnant and want to keep an eye on your iron.
Awesome. Any other key nutrients to focus on when you're trying to conceive outside of the ones you described?
Yeah, I think, DHA and EPA are huge.
Yeah.
The fatty fish, the omega-3s are very important for baby's brain development, and they actually really benefit mom as well. They're supportive of mom's brain health, and especially going into postpartum. But, kind of throughout preconception, pregnancy, postpartum, making sure you're on a good fish oil supplement. And I will also say, make sure you're taking it separately from your prenatal.
Mm.
If you're on a prenatal or a gummy or something that combines EPA and DHA with all your vitamins and minerals, it's not a very high quality option because fish oil goes rancid at a much faster rate, and then your vitamins and minerals won't go rancid,
Yeah.
but fish
Yeah.
oil will because it's a fat.
Yeah.
So you want to take them separately and
Right.
make sure it's a very high quality one that's kind of undergone some testing, because there can be a lot of contaminants in fatty fish, especially if they're if they're coming from farm fish and not wild caught,
Yeah.
heavy metals, PCBs, all of
Seeing
that.
that more
So
and more now, I think. Yeah.
yes,
There's a
yeah,
lot of third-party testing happening with supplements now that's uncovering a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
it's a
that's
good
right.
thing. Yeah.
And, another one is making sure that you are taking folate and not folic acid. I think, we're hearing this more and more, but a lot of doctors who are not educated in, up-to-date nutrition science,
Right.
are still recommending folic acid. It's been this talking point for public health for so long, but there's so much science out there now that is showing that it is not nearly as effective for our bodies to absorb as
Yeah.
folate is. Folate
Yeah.
is the active form.
Yeah.
Folic acid is actually not even made in our bodies. So it's not,
Right.
it's like it's this foreign nutrient and it has to go through so many conversion steps before it's able to be absorbed and used in your body. And further, like 60% of women have the MTHFR gene mutation. And I think, a few years ago, people could kind of shrug that off and be like, oh, it's not a big deal. But they're seeing, now it's very clear that if you have that genetic mutation and you're taking folate, it's actually quite damaging to continue to take folate because you get a buildup of this homocysteine in your body, which becomes toxic and
Mm-hmm.
can really affect your thyroid health, among other things.
Yeah.
So high quality fish oil, um, what was I just talking about?
Oh, methyl,
Thank you,
folate,
folate.
folate.
Folate. And choline is another huge one. Choline and magnesium are also
Yes.
they're very important
Yeah.
for preconception and post and pregnancy, but they tend to be left out of prenatals because they're bulky ingredients and they're expensive
Yeah.
ingredients.
Yeah.
And they're very important for brain and neural tube development is also just as important with choline as it is with folate. So
Yeah.
I think they get left out a lot, but they're very important.
Yeah.
So like the message here is just find a really comprehensive, high quality prenatal, like I am nurtured.
What? It's time for a shameless plug. But to your point though, I mean, um, obviously, same goes for males too. So like
Yeah,
you can share the experience of supplementing together with your wife, your partner, and
yeah.
you. So
And it's also important to say you and I have always been food first
yeah,
dietitians, right? Eat a really high quality diet,
yes,
and these prenatals are not meant to cover all of your nutrient needs. They're insurance policies to fill the gaps,
right,
right? To make
yeah,
sure that you do have everything for you and for baby,
right,
and really focus in. This is a time to focus in on high quality food.
right,
So a really colorful, nutrient dense diet. So, getting those deeply colored fruits and vegetables is where all those antioxidants and polyphenols are.
yep,
Putting an extra focus on the quality of your meat. Don't be afraid of red meat and
no,
fat. And the collagen is so good for our bodies, especially as we're going to go into this really highly demanding time.
yeah,
So just being mindful of the quality of what you're putting into your body is very important, a very important first step always.
yeah. No, I think it's like just in your health in general, right?
Yeah.
And with fertility and preconception, it's like,
Mhm.
man, invest in your health. It's like
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of the price of eggs. Invest in eggs. They're great for you. And
Also,
they're
don't be afraid of the price of a good prenatal or of good
exactly,
supplements because
exactly.
in this industry where everything is so unregulated, you truly do get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So, the one a day gummies are just that.
Yeah, just a
They
fact.
are.
I mean, back to I am nurtured and our supplement, we I think as food first dietitians, like I and you and I agree that to make something that we wouldn't take ourselves would be silly. So
Yes.
we were very careful about everything that's in here, that we would take it. I take it. I think it's an amazing supplement. I feel better when I do. Um,
Yeah.
my wife
I
feels
still
better
take
when she
it.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yep.
I think that says a lot. I feel like, I mean, we're kind of being
It's
self-aggrandizing, but I think it's an important point.
Well, yeah, and the whole mission behind this is creating something that we felt was very needed
Right.
as nutrition professionals, right?
Right.
When we started this business, it was because we were not finding solutions on the shelves that we were happy with,
Exactly.
from a quality and quantity standpoint, frankly,
Right.
because some supplements out there may have the quality standards, but it's frankly just not enough
Right.
choline, not enough magnesium, not enough
Right.
vitamin D, and you
Yes.
need more of all of these things during this time of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it feels like we have male and female fertility covered. That's great. Thank you. Very
Yes.
insightful. Um,
Ladies, check out the other video
yeah.
on male infertility for
Send it to
for
your
your
husband or your
guys.
partner, or your guy. Yeah, exactly.
And let us know if you have other questions that we didn't answer here.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.